Saṃsāra is a fundamental concept in Indian religions, referring to the belief in a cycle of death and rebirth driven by the effects of karma. The idea is hinted at in the late Vedic texts, but is absent in the earliest layers of Vedic literature, developing into its current form around the mid-1st millennium BCE in the Shramanic traditions, such as Buddhism and Jainism, and in the various schools of Hindu philosophy. In Hinduism, Saṃsāra is seen as the journey of the Atman, eternal self, through numerous lifetimes, with the ultimate goal being moksha, or liberation from the cycle. Different Hindu traditions have varying views on the nature of Saṃsāra and the means to achieve moksha, with some emphasizing devotion, others knowledge, and still others meditation or action. In Jainism, Saṃsāra is viewed as the worldly life characterized by continuous rebirths and suffering in various realms of existence, with liberation being the goal. Jain cosmology posits that souls begin in a primordial state and evolve through the samsara, driven by karma, with the potential for some souls to reach a state of eternal liberation, while others are seen as incapable of attaining moksha. Buddhism also holds samsara as a central concept, emphasizing the idea of suffering and the impersonal nature of the cycle of rebirth, with the ultimate aim being the attainment of nirvana, or freedom from this cycle. Buddhist texts describe various realms of existence within samsara, each with its own characteristics and challenges, and the Buddha's teachings, such as the Four Noble Truths, are seen as the path to liberation. In Sikhism, samsara is incorporated along with the concepts of karma and the cyclical nature of time, with the key difference being the emphasis on the grace of God as the means to achieve liberation, rather than through individual effort alone. Despite their differences, these religious traditions all view samsara as a central feature of existence, with the ultimate goal being the attainment of spiritual liberation from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. The country of San Escobar originated from a blunder made by the Polish Minister of Foreign Affairs, Witold Waszczykowski, in January 2017, when he claimed to have met with officials from various countries, including the non-existent nation of San Escobar, in a bid for Poland's seat on the UN Security Council. A government spokeswoman later clarified that Waszczykowski had meant to say San Cristobal y Nieves, the Spanish name for St. Kitts and Nevis, but the slip of the tongue quickly gained worldwide media attention. San Escobar soon developed a significant online presence, with social media users creating a fictitious identity for the country, complete with a flag, photos, and maps. The hashtag #GierSanEscobar became the most popular within the Polish segment of Twitter, and the country became the subject of numerous joke news stories and memes, often playing on the name's similarity to that of drug lord Pablo Escobar. Twitter accounts were created for various fictional entities within San Escobar, such as the República Popular Democrática de San Escobar and the El Frente Comunista de San Escobar, adding to the comedic narrative surrounding the non-existent nation. Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is a large, hairy, human-like creature alleged to inhabit the forests of North America, particularly in the Pacific Northwest. Enthusiasts have offered various forms of evidence to prove Bigfoot's existence, including anecdotal claims of sightings, photographs, video and audio recordings, hair samples, and casts of large footprints. However, the scientific consensus is that Bigfoot and the alleged evidence are a combination of folklore, misidentification, and hoax, rather than a living animal. Folklorists trace the phenomenon to factors such as the European wildman figure, folk tales, and indigenous cultures, with similar stories of hairy humanoids existing worldwide. Alleged Bigfoot sightings are often attributed to misidentifications of known animals, particularly black bears, or hoaxes. Some researchers have proposed that Bigfoot could be a relict population of the extinct Asian ape Gigantopithecus, but the scientific community largely dismisses this idea due to a lack of fossil evidence in the Americas and other inconsistencies. Despite the lack of scientific support, Bigfoot has become a cultural icon and the subject of a distinct subculture, with numerous organizations, events, and enthusiasts dedicated to the creature, with some even comparing Bigfoot to Michael Jordan in terms of cultural impact. Bigfoot's popularity has led to its appearance in various forms of media, merchandise, and even the naming of sports teams, mascots, and geographical locations. Satori is a Japanese Buddhist term for awakening or understanding, often used interchangeably with the term kensho, which refers to the perception of one's true nature or emptiness. In the Zen Buddhist tradition, Satori represents a deep experience of enlightenment, considered to be the ultimate goal of Zen practice and essential to the essence of Zen. This experience is often described as ineffable, transcending the distinction between the knower and the known. While Satori is associated with a full, deep realization of enlightenment, kensho is more commonly used to refer to an initial awakening experience that can be further expanded and deepened. Attaining Satori requires rigorous study, meditation practice, and guidance from a teacher, often involving the use of koans, which are short anecdotes or dialogues designed to challenge the student's understanding and concentrate the mind. The Rinzai school of Zen Buddhism emphasizes the importance of Satori, while the Soto school focuses more on the practice of silent illumination through Zazen meditation. In Japanese Buddhism, Satori is considered a first step towards Buddhahood, requiring further deepening and maturation through continuous practice and repeated enlightenment experiences. The student's mind must be prepared for the realization of Satori through dedicated study and practice. Savant syndrome is a rare phenomenon where individuals demonstrate exceptional abilities in specific domains, such as art, memory, arithmetic, music, or spatial skills, despite having significant social or intellectual impairments. The condition is often associated with neurodevelopmental disorders like autism spectrum disorder or brain injuries, and it usually becomes apparent in childhood, although some cases develop later in life. Savant syndrome affects an estimated 1 in a million people, with males being affected more often than females at a ratio of 6 to 1. Approximately half of savants are autistic, while the other half often have some form of central nervous system injury or disease. Estimates suggest that between 0.5% and 10% of individuals with autism possess some form of savant abilities. The most common type of savant is the calendrical savant, also known as a human calendar, who can quickly and accurately calculate the day of the week for any given date or recall personal memories from specific dates. Advanced memory is considered the key superpower in savant abilities. There is no widely accepted cognitive theory that explains the combination of talent and deficit found in savants, but various hypotheses suggest detail-focused processing, hyper-systemizing, enhanced perception, or access to unfiltered information as potential explanations. In some cases, savant syndrome can be induced following severe head trauma to the left anterior temporal lobe, and it has been artificially replicated using transcranial magnetic stimulation to temporarily disable this brain area. The term idiot savant was first used to describe the condition in 1887, but it later became considered a misnomer, leading to the more widely accepted term savant syndrome. In 1935, physicist Erwin Schrödinger proposed a thought experiment involving a hypothetical cat in a sealed box, along with a flask of poison and a radioactive source connected to a Geiger counter. According to the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics, if an internal radiation monitor detects radioactivity from a single atom decaying, the flask would shatter, releasing the poison and killing the cat. The key concept is that after some time, the cat would be simultaneously alive and dead, existing in a state of quantum superposition until an observer opens the box and observes the cat's state, causing the wave function to collapse into one possibility or the other. This thought experiment highlights the apparent paradox between what quantum theory states about the nature and behavior of matter on a subatomic level, and what we observe to be true about the nature and behavior of matter on a macroscopic level. While the experiment was not intended to be carried out literally, it serves as a theoretical illustration of the concept of quantum superposition and the apparent contradictions arising from applying quantum mechanics to everyday objects. Different interpretations of quantum mechanics, such as the Copenhagen interpretation, the many worlds interpretation, and the ensemble interpretation, provide varying explanations for the behavior of quantum systems and the outcome of the Schrödinger's cat thought experiment. Although the experiment has not been performed on a cat-sized object, successful experiments involving similar principles have been conducted on smaller scales, gradually pushing the known upper limit on quantum superposition states. The thought experiment remains a subject of fascination and debate among physicists and philosophers, as it encapsulates some of the most perplexing aspects of quantum theory and its implications for our understanding of reality. The Seattle windshield pitting epidemic of April 1954 involved widespread reports of mysterious damage to car windshields, with thousands of people in Bellingham, Seattle, and other parts of Washington state claiming to see holes, pits, and dings that had previously gone unnoticed. Initially blamed on vandals, the sheer scale of the reported damage led to wild speculation about the cause, ranging from sand flea eggs and cosmic rays to physical oscillations caused by a nearby naval radio transmitter and even the effects of nuclear bomb testing. As media coverage of the phenomenon increased, so did the number of reported cases, with motorists flagging down police to report damage and car lots, and parking garages claiming to be severely affected. Theories about the cause of the pitting reached a fever pitch, prompting the mayor of Seattle to seek help from the governor and President Eisenhower, with around 3,000 damaged windshields reported by April 15th. However, a Seattle Police Crime Lab sergeant suggested that the epidemic was largely a case of public hysteria, with only a small percentage of reports being genuine cases of vandalism. The pitting reports suddenly stopped on April 17th, and the incident has since been regarded as a classic example of collective delusion, where people began noticing and attributing significance to minor damage that had already existed on their windshields before the media drew attention to it. The phenomenon was not confined to Washington state, with hundreds of similar reports emerging in British Columbia, Alberta, and Ontario in the following week. Natural windshield pitting had likely been occurring for some time, but it took the media spotlight for people to start noticing and reacting to it en masse. The Capitol Hill Mystery Soda Machine was a quirky and beloved fixture on the streets of Seattle for decades, dispensing unusual and sometimes discontinued soda flavors to curious passers-by. Operating since at least the late 1990s, the machine was located in front of Broadway Locksmith on East John Street, and featured a series of mystery buttons that would deliver a surprise drink when pressed. Despite being a Coca-Cola branded machine from the 1970s, it offered an eclectic mix of sodas from various manufacturers, adding to its allure. The machine's origin and the identity of the person or persons responsible for restocking it remained unknown, even to the employees of Broadway Locksmith, who provided the electricity to keep it running. Over time, the machine's nostalgic appearance and unusual presence on the sidewalk gave rise to local legends, with some even speculating that it might be haunted. As word of the mystery soda machine spread through news articles and social media, its popularity grew, with all 6 buttons eventually being converted to mystery options, and the price gradually increasing from 55 cents in 2002 to $1 by 2018. On June 29, 2018, the machine vanished following maintenance work in the area, leaving behind a cryptic note that read, "Went for a walk." In the months that followed, the machine's Facebook page posted edited images of the machine in various Seattle locations, fueling speculation about its whereabouts and adding to its mysterious legacy. Despite hopes for its return, the Capitol Hill Mystery Soda Machine remains missing, with some doubting whether the neighborhood's increasingly corporate culture could still accommodate such an enigmatic and whimsical presence. Doctors in the Netherlands have stumbled upon what may be a previously unknown set of organs hidden deep within the human skull. While using advanced scans to study prostate cancer patients, they noticed two flat, spindly structures near the intersection of the nose and throat that closely resembled salivary glands. This came as a surprise, as the only known salivary or mucus glands in that area, called the nasopharynx, are microscopically small and evenly distributed throughout the mucosa. The doctors performed a cadaver dissection and confirmed that these mystery structures are indeed similar to the body's three main sets of salivary glands, which are located under the tongue, by the ears, and behind the jaw. They proposed naming the potential new organs tubarial glands due to their proximity to a bump known as the torus tubarius. While more research is needed to officially classify these structures as major or minor salivary glands, the discovery of a previously unknown part of the human body is an exciting development. The finding may help explain why some patients who undergo radiation therapy for head and neck cancers experience side effects like dry mouth and difficulty swallowing, as the tubarial glands were likely being affected by the treatment. This knowledge could lead to improved radiation therapy techniques that spare these glands and reduce uncomfortable side effects for patients. In a remarkable series of claims, insiders have described a vast secret space program operating behind the scenes, hidden from public view. Allegedly, this program has its roots in Nazi Germany's advanced UFO research, later augmented by captured extraterrestrial technologies. After World War II, US military and corporate interests are said to have reverse-engineered these technologies in underground bases, developing entire fleets of advanced spacecraft capable of exploring the solar system and beyond. Huge sums of missing government money, totaling trillions of dollars, have supposedly been funneled into expanding this secret infrastructure. Whistleblowers claim the program has conducted manned missions to the Moon, Mars, and elsewhere, established bases there, and even engaged in interstellar travel, all without public awareness. Some allege that extraterrestrial civilizations are cooperating with this effort, sharing even more advanced technologies. However, a nefarious element or cabal within the program is said to be using it for more sinister purposes. If true, the implications would be staggering: a vast interplanetary operation, dwarfing the public space program in scope and capabilities, kept hidden from the world. Yet extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and absent that, such tales remain in the realm of unverified conspiracy theory. Only time will tell if any truth lies behind the tantalizing story of the secret space program. In 1955, a strange phenomenon swept across the United States, leaving homeowners and scientists alike scratching their heads in bewilderment. Garden hoses, seemingly with minds of their own, began burrowing into the ground, nozzle first, as if possessed by some inexplicable force. One of the earliest reported incidents occurred in Downey, California, at the home of George DePaso, where his daughter was watering the garden when she set the hose down, only to watch in disbelief as it started sinking into the earth. The hose continued its descent until nearly 20 feet of it had disappeared underground, forcing George to cut it off to halt its puzzling progress. As news of this peculiar event spread, similar cases began popping up in states like Florida, Kansas, New York, and Michigan, with perplexed residents reporting their garden hoses mysteriously submerging themselves into the soil. Scientists attempted to explain the phenomenon, speculating that water pressure might be creating a vacuum effect, pulling the hoses into loose soil. Self-hypnosis, also known as auto-hypnosis, is a process where individuals induce a hypnotic state in themselves, often to enhance the power of self-suggestion or to achieve various therapeutic benefits. Unlike traditional hypnosis, which involves a hypnotist guiding the subject, self-hypnosis allows the individual to play both roles, acting as the suggester and the suggestee. The practice of self-hypnosis can vary widely, ranging from focusing all attention on a specific auto-suggestive formula to allowing a free flow of thoughts, emotions, and memories to drift into one's consciousness. James Braid, the Scottish physician who coined the term hypnotism in 1841, was one of the first to experiment with self-hypnosis, successfully using it to alleviate his own severe rheumatism pain in 1844. Émile Coué, a French psychologist and pharmacist, further popularized self-hypnosis in the early 20th century with his method of conscious autosuggestion, which became an internationally renowned self-help system. Autogenic training, developed by German psychiatrist Johannes Schultz in 1932, is another relaxation technique that incorporates elements of self-hypnosis, progressing from physiological conditioning to psychic conditioning through mental imagery and other methods. Self-hypnosis typically involves 4 key steps: motivation, relaxation, concentration, and directing, with the last step being optional depending on whether the individual has a specific goal in mind. Modern hypnotherapy extensively uses self-hypnosis to help manage pain, anxiety, depression, sleep disorders, obesity, asthma, and skin conditions, among other issues. By teaching patients self-hypnosis techniques, clinicians empower them with a tool to control and master their pain, or at least better cope with it, even when the therapist is not present. Self-hypnosis can also be used to induce relaxation, strengthen self-esteem, and improve overall well-being, with some studies suggesting that it may even help protect the immune system against the negative effects of stress. In addition to its therapeutic applications, self-hypnosis has been used to alleviate pain during childbirth, with some obstetricians in the early 20th century considering it the only risk-free anesthetic for labor. Masaru Emoto, a Japanese businessman and author, gained international recognition for his claims that human consciousness could alter the molecular structure of water. Emoto's ideas evolved over the years, with his early work focusing on the belief that water could react to positive thoughts and words, and that polluted water could be purified through prayer and positive visualization. In 1999, Emoto began publishing a series of books titled Messages from Water, which featured photographs of ice crystals alongside various experiments, such as the Rice in Water 30-Day Experiment. According to Emoto, water exposed to positive speech and thoughts would produce visually appealing ice crystals, while negative intentions would yield distorted and unattractive ice formations. He also claimed that different water sources would create distinct ice structures, with water from pure sources like mountain streams forming beautiful geometric designs, while polluted water would result in randomly formed, distorted structures. Emoto suggested that these changes could be reversed by exposing water to ultraviolet light or certain electromagnetic waves. While Emoto's ideas gained popular attention, with his book, The Hidden Messages in Water, becoming a New York Times bestseller, his work has been widely criticized by the scientific community for lacking proper experimental controls and not adhering to scientific standards. Critics argue that Emoto's experiments were designed in a way that allowed for manipulation or human error, and that he did not share sufficient details of his methods with the scientific community for proper evaluation. Despite the lack of scientific evidence supporting his claims, Emoto's ideas have been featured in various movies, further popularizing his concept of water's ability to respond to human emotions and intentions. In Serbia, a group of scientists has developed an innovative solution to combat air pollution in dense urban areas where planting trees is not feasible due to limited space. The team, led by Dr. Ivan Spasojevic from the University of Belgrade, created a device called Liquid 3, which is essentially a liquid tree that uses microalgae to absorb carbon dioxide and produce pure oxygen through photosynthesis. The Liquid 3 contains 600 liters of water and is capable of replacing the air-purifying capabilities of 2 10-year-old trees or 200 square meters of lawn, making it an efficient tool for improving air quality in cities. Microalgae are 10 to 50 times more effective at binding carbon dioxide than trees, and they can thrive even in highly polluted conditions, unlike many tree species. The Liquid 3 is designed to be multifunctional, serving not only as an air purifier but also as a bench, complete with mobile phone chargers and a solar panel for nighttime lighting. The system is low maintenance, requiring only the removal of accumulated biomass every 6 weeks, which can be used as a fertilizer, and the replenishment of water and minerals to allow the algae to continue growing indefinitely. The project aims to popularize the use of microalgae in Serbia, as they have various applications beyond air purification, such as wastewater treatment, composting, and the production of biomass and biofuels. In the realm of analytical psychology, the concept of the shadow represents an unconscious aspect of the personality that the ego does not identify with or want to acknowledge. This shadow is often projected onto others, leading to internal conflicts and emotional blind spots. The development of the shadow runs parallel to the growth of the ego and its defenses, with the shadow encompassing everything outside the light of consciousness, both positive and negative aspects. The collective shadow is shared by all of humanity, often projected onto figures like the devil or mythological characters representing overwhelming affects. The shadow may appear in dreams and visions, typically as a person of the same sex as the dreamer, and its appearance and role depend on the individual's life experiences. Encountering the shadow is a crucial part of the individuation process, which involves integrating unconscious aspects of the self into conscious awareness. This encounter can be facilitated through techniques such as active imagination, daydreaming, meditation, and dream analysis. Merging with the shadow can be dangerous, as it may lead to the ego being overwhelmed by the unconscious, but assimilating the shadow through understanding and integration can lead to a stronger, more complete sense of self. The shadow is a reservoir for human darkness, but also the seat of creativity, and acknowledging it must be a continuous process throughout one's life. The concept of the shadow has been indirectly represented in various forms of popular culture, such as literature, music, and video games, often exploring the idea of confronting and integrating the darker aspects of the self. A shadow biosphere suggests the existence of microbial life on Earth that operates using vastly different biochemical processes from what we know. While Earth's life is well studied, such an alternate biosphere, if it exists, might have gone unnoticed due to our focus on macroorganisms. Some scientists propose that early Earth might have harbored multiple origins of life, leading to variations on familiar life forms. These alternatives could have vanished or merged with present-day life forms, according to different perspectives. Researchers speculate on potential environments where these alternative life forms might persist undetected. For instance, they suggest looking in sulfur-poor environments, spatially restricted areas, or extreme temperature cycles for signs of life with different biochemical signatures. Candidates for this shadow biosphere include organisms using different amino acids or molecular units in their biology, exhibiting opposite chirality, or utilizing arsenic instead of phosphorus. Some even propose entirely different genetic codes or chemical bases for genetic material. The discovery of a shadow biosphere could imply that life has evolved on Earth independently more than once, suggesting microbial life forms with no evolutionary ties to known life. Such a finding might also bolster the idea that life is widespread in the universe. However, criticisms abound regarding methods and conclusions in studies claiming evidence of shadow biospheres. For instance, experiments suggesting arsenic substitution in DNA have faced scrutiny due to potential contamination and chemical instability issues.